Well, for starters, I feel like you can't just go up and like kill someone. I feel like, I mean, I guess unless someone, you know, comes on your property or like breaks in your house, I feel like you should have a firearm for, you know, to protect yourself. But I feel like, I don't know. I guess police are allowed to have it. So I mean, it's all right in some parts, but I wouldn't have one myself because I wouldn't show that I'm trying to be somewhat aggressive more to someone than others, I guess. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like it's all right to have a gun. My parents have guns. My dad's in the Army, so like, I mean, it's all right. He protects himself, so I guess like it's cool to have one. But I mean, at the same time, people just misuse them, and people die every day. So it's not really like I can't do much about it. But yeah.
I feel like my self-defense rights are, if I feel threatened in any way, I have a right to defend myself.
Okay, so what is self-defense?
It's defending yourself. It's like you can, if someone's like, you feel that they're about to harm you, you can like be like, bitch, stop. Can you use that? Do I need to redo that?
It's fine.
I don't know. I feel like I really thought I knew what it meant, and then you asked me, and I was like, oh. If someone's like gonna stab me, like I can stab them, but it has to be like equal force. Like I can't be like excessively,
right?
Because I know that.
Right. Do you know your rights regarding self-defense?
Nope.
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 Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time, Allison.
Thanks.
I don't know. I guess it's when can you not use a firearm unless your life's in danger?
What?
Like, wouldn't it be like using self-defense, but only like if you think your life's in imminent danger or something like that?
That's part of it, yeah.
And then I guess it varies on state, because like in Illinois it's probably not like that. Like I know people like you can shoot someone and then you can still go to jail for that technically, depending on what happened. But in like Texas, you can probably go on someone's lawn and shoot the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess it depends on a lot of things, but yeah, if your life's in imminent fucking danger, I guess.
What are my self-defense rights? I don't know specifically how legislation reads, either up there in Illinois or down here in Alabama, but as a broad definition of the term, it is my right to respond accordingly to an imminent threat.
Swingle says Ronnie Pryor had broken back in through the same basement window and cut off the electricity.
She got spooked when her electricity went out. She got a shotgun, and she sat in the chair listening. Then she heard somebody slamming against her basement door in her kitchen, and she went and looked at that kitchen door, and he slammed it a second time and actually broke through it. And as he's coming through, she shot him. He went down, and then she ran out her front door with the shotgun in her hand, got to a neighbor's and was pounding on the door, screaming for help.
Officers arrived in seconds to find Pryor stumbling through the victim's backyard. He died at a local hospital 7 hours later.
Rape conviction, got a 10-year prison sentence in November of 1989.
Punching the guy in the car. The two kids in the truck get out, and you can clearly see they are getting the better of Bradley Turner. They begin to punch him, breaking his nose, knocking him to the ground. Now watch, because the wife comes around. She hands her husband a gun. Listen now, because the gun discharges. He then points the gun at the two guys. The two kids stay in the truck. Bradley Turner gets back in his car, and he drives off. That's where the videotape ends, but not where the story ends, because apparently he drove off, and then he drove back toward the boys in the truck, and they pick it up from here. Listen.
When we walked back outside, we saw him drive by and pull into a road just past his house. And he turns back, coming eastbound on a westbound lane on oncoming traffic. So we knew he was coming back to his house. So we went inside, and he pulled in the yard and shot my truck up, and that's when we called 911.
The literal definition of self-defense is as follows: the defense of one's person or interests, especially through the use of physical force, which is permitted in certain cases as an answer to a charge of a violent crime. The history of self-defense dates all the way back to biblical times, when the people were concerned with violating the sixth commandment. Not only that, the law was also adopted by English common law, where it states that the use of deadly force is acceptable when defending oneself if there are no means of retreating from the situation, We discussed English common law in earlier chapters in the book. However, John Locke backed up the use of self-defense, however, disagreed with the retreat principle that the English common law uses, and this is something that the U.S. still follows with today.
Many people know about self-defense and gun laws. What they don't know is the extent in which they can use those guns and how they can claim self-defense in the court of law. And I'm here to explain just that. Now, deadly force is only justified when used to prevent imminent or otherwise unavoidable harm or death to the innocent. That's the only case when self-defense is justified. When it comes to guns, you need to know the gun laws in your state. Each state has separate and different gun laws, and those vary, and those come into account when in the court. The various laws come into account in court. So, the whole United States has a law that says guns must be registered to the owner. You cannot have a gun that's not registered to the owner. That's part one. If you have a gun that's not registered and you use it, you cannot claim self-defense because you don't have the right certifications to have that gun. You have that gun illegally. Number two is each state has separate gun laws, different guns that are illegal in their state. Say you have a registered gun, but that particular gun is illegal in Alabama and you live in Illinois. Now, if you use that gun in Alabama, but it's registered to you, but that gun is illegal there, you can't claim self-defense because that gun, that specific model of gun is illegal. So you got to be aware of what guns are illegal and what guns aren't legal in your state. Say you do use deadly force. What does the law look at to claim self-defense? Well, first of all, in court, what you're trying to do is convince the jury or the judge that if they were put in that same situation, they would do the exact same thing. That's basically what you're trying to do. You're trying to convince people that I was in a situation where I had no other choice. This is the only possible situation that I could do. And that is why I'm in this predicament I'm in right at the moment. Another thing is that you can't act outside of the force that was acted upon you. Say you're being held against your will, because when it becomes your own home, then the castle doctrine comes into play. But if it wasn't, and the first step you should do in that situation is try to escape. You try to run away without using any force at all. That's what you should try to do first. If you can get away without using any force, that's the best possible solution. Only then can you use force against an attacker if running away isn't an option. If running away is not an option, then you have every right to try to defend yourself, but with only equal force. Now, the law states that if a man, say, comes at you with a knife and you have a gun, it's your right as a U.S. citizen to have a gun if it's registered and that gun is legal in that state. It's your right as a citizen to have that gun and to pull that gun out if the defendant uses a knife, because that was the only weapon you had at the time, only weapon that was attainable in that area, so that's the weapon you chose to use. Now, there's some gray areas with this, and it could get skewed and misrepresented in the law, but it is still acceptable in some instances. So, what people need to know is register your license, get your gun license, know the laws in your state about that particular gun, and understand that the force acted upon you has to be equal to the force you did to the attacker. You can't exceed the force. You can't go above that cloud of equality when acting in self-defense. So, knowing all this, several aspects of using deadly force by using a gun or other things can still land you in jail. You can still go to jail if you use deadly force in claiming self-defense. It is your job to know your laws as a U.S. citizen.